Alright, here we go, stream chat. What's popping? Welcome back to Sunday School. The most hated religious Bible thing. I don't know what you would call this stream. We're studying Proverbs, so I guess this is a Bible study stream. And it's the most hated Bible study stream. I did a poll on my Instagram the other day, and I asked if you people would rather me just stop streaming, because it seems that these particular streams just haven't been doing well. I got like a 97% yes. Please stop streaming, Nuisance. Never stream again. And I was like, geez, I really need to change this up. I really need to, make a change. We need to make this more interesting, alright? So, that's what I'm aiming for today, okay? We are going to make a much more interesting stream. It's going to be the most base stream you've ever watched. Today we're finishing up the first section of Proverbs, alright? And we are joined by two guests, hopefully. Probably only one guest, but we'll see. We are currently joined by Canadian Christian on Instagram, otherwise known as Noah.
Hello. Yeah, my Instagram is banned right now, but I should have it back in a day or so,
Alright, and we're supposed to be also joined by Danny Smelly Fito on Instagram.
Otherwise known as Jack.
But he is currently MIA. And Panda from the last stream said that he was going to join. He just said so now. I have no clue what's going on. So as far as you guys can be concerned, chat, we only have Canadian Christian on here. Basically, that's the gist of it. Don't ask who Danny is. Why does it say Danny on there, Nuisance? I don't know. Maybe I'll change it. I'll change this to say Panda. There we go. It says Panda now. Panda is our official other guest that isn't joined. Peter Missick says Scotland forever. Kind of based. I like Ireland personally more than Scotland.
Wait, Peter Missick is Panda.
Yeah, I know.
That's.
I think I just said that. But anywho, I like Ireland a bit more. But yeah. So, welcome to Sunday School. Alright? What are we doing on Sunday School today? We are reading through the Book of Proverbs. So far, we've done 3 episodes on the Book of Proverbs. Okay? We're going through currently the past 3 episodes, if you include this one. We've been going through the introduction to the Book of Proverbs. So the Book of Proverbs, it was collected and compiled during the time of Solomon. From what I understand, Solomon commissioned it to be written down. And it's basically like a collection of wise sayings from the time that Solomon was king. And the first 9 chapters of Proverbs are actually, I guess, like more of like a introduction written by Solomon himself. At least it's attributed to him. And it's just kind of like giving you these like little vignettes, I guess, about wisdom and like ways to understand wisdom and why this book was written and compiled and why it's in the Bible, basically. And it's very interesting, and even in this little introduction, we're learning a lot. We've learned a lot of stuff about the nature of God, the nature of the Holy Spirit, and the nature of the world and how we should act in it. And so currently we are going to be doing the last 3 chapters, unless something extremely horrible happens, of Proverbs. And we're going to be starting with chapter 7. So are you ready, Canadian Christian? Do you have any input
ready
before we begin?
Nope. I'm ready. Let's get right into it.
Alright, let's get right into it. So chapter 7 is entitled Another Warning About Immoral Women. See, no e-girls ever, I think, is one of the main themes of the first 3 chapters of Proverbs. No e-girls. Never. That's one of the main lessons that we've been learning so far. Follow my advice, son. Always treasure my commands. It always opens like this. I'm not sure if I like it. I mean, I guess, I'm a Christian. I have to enjoy the Bible. I don't know if that's true.
Average Bible enjoyer.
I feel like I'd be blaspheming if I say it's a little weirdo that it begins like this. In the King James, it begins much more eloquently. Anywho, follow my advice, son. Always treasure my commands. Obey my commands and live. Guard my instructions as you guard your own eyes. Tie them on your finger as a reminder and write them deep in your heart. Love wisdom like a sister. Make insight a beloved member of your family. Let them protect you from an affair with an immoral woman, from listening to the flattery of a promiscuous woman. While I was at the window of my house looking through the curtain, I saw a naive young man, and one in particular who lacked common sense. He was crossing the street near the house of an immoral woman. And if you don't know what an immoral woman means, it means hoe. Strolling down the path by her house. It was at twilight, in the evening, as deep darkness fell. The woman approached him seductively dressed and sly of heart. She was the brash, rebellious type, never content to stay at home. She was often in the streets and the markets, soliciting at every corner. She threw her arms around him and kissed him. With a brazen look, she said, I must have made my peace offerings and fulfilled my vows. You're the one I was looking for. I came out to find you, and here you are. My bed is spread with beautiful blankets, with colored sheets of Egyptian linen. I've perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let's drink our fill of love until morning. Let's enjoy each other's caresses, for my husband is not home. He is away on a long trip. He has taken a wallet full of money with him and won't return until later this month. So she seduced him with her pretty speech and enticed him with her flattery. The fuck was that?
Oh, that was a car.
What the Jeez, man. You guys are messing me up. I'm supposed to not be cursing. I made a vow to Tyler that I wouldn't curse, and you guys are messing me up, man. I can't believe this. The Steel Crusader says, wow, this is awkward. Am I the only one? Oh, wait, I just realized I'm not showing it on screen. There we go. Alright, so the Bible, I'm not showing it. So she seduced him with her pretty speech and enticed him with her flattery. He followed her at once like an ox going to slaughter. He was like a stag caught in a trap, awaiting the arrow that would pierce his heart. He was like a bird flying into a snare, little knowing what it would cost him his life. That it would cost him his life. So listen to me, sons, and pay attention to my words. Don't let your hearts stray away toward her. Don't wander down her wayward path, for she has been in the ruin of many. Many men have been her victims. Her house is the road to the grave. Her bedroom is the den of death. They're just really beating in no e-girls ever, which is the number one rule, I think. Number one best thing that you can take away from Proverbs, I think. Very smart teachings, okay? To never mess with those e-girls, man. They will not do you any good. There were some things that I want to talk about in here. I'm not exactly sure what it was. Let me find it. Where was it? Anywho, basically, what I think Proverbs has been trying to pin down in a couple of different little places in here is basically there's the type of hoe, the art hoe. Oh, okay, I know what it was. She's the rebellious type. That's what it was. It said somewhere she's the rebellious type, doesn't like to stay home, is not happy with that. The type of woman that, wants to, like, have a career. And, like, the type of people that, have been psyoped into thinking that, life can be more fulfilling if you don't just, like, actually just do what you were designed to do, which is to, like, have kids and, like, have a family. And instead, like, these people that go after, like, sexual liberation or financial liberation, that this is really what they're talking about. That's basically, like, one and the same with a hoe. Like, you don't want to be around these, like, art hoes that, really want to make a name for themselves doing art on DeviantArt. You don't want to surround yourself with these types of people. But I don't know. That's what I got out of this. I don't know. What about you, Noah?
I think it's the same thing, You gotta be careful of all these, like, these feminists and all these women, It's mostly feminism nowadays. That's kind of what Proverbs is talking about. Like, I see that in a lot of feminists. They think, oh, I don't need a man. I'm a strong, independent woman. I got a career. But then they get to, like, 30, they're like 30, 35, and they're, like, addicted to wine or whatever.
Addicted to drugs. Have no kids.
You know the type, the single, not married, wine drinking.
Wine aunt?
Wine aunt, yeah.
Wine aunt.
And they're like on Reddit or something, and they're complaining. Oh, I wish I got married earlier. It's that kind.
Yeah, it's like these people who worship death, basically, is what that's basically what these people are. It keeps saying when it talks about this, their house is the road to the grave. And originally I was reading into that, like they always cause some kind of bad thing to happen. But something I just thought of now is that, why is it that this is always such a bad decision to, like, hang out with these hoes, to hang out with people who live their life like this? Why is it so vehemently warning against you doing this? And I think the main reason that it keeps bashing this exact statement right here, her house is the road to death. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death, as it says in the King James Version. I think the reason that's saying that is because these people who really want this, life like that, are people that worship death. I talked about this in, like, an Instagram story. It's up on my Instagram. It says, like, read now or something. And I was talking about how, like, basically the modern world is, like, worshiping death. Like, it says in the, I think in Matthew, it says, the apostles ask Jesus, they say, how will we know when the end of the world is coming? And he says, you'll know when the abomination of desolation that the prophet Daniel spoke about is found in the holy place. And when you know that, everyone in the land of Israel should run to the hills. Woe to those who are pregnant at those times, and woe to them if it happens in winter, and all that stuff. And I basically read into that the abomination of desolation, like what does that mean? Because from what I've read, the Bible isn't, like, explicitly clear what the abomination of desolation is. It seems like it's described almost as, like, you'll just know it when you see it, or something like that. But what I read into it to mean is it's like all this LGBT, like, propaganda, anti-life propaganda. And it's like, okay, so the abomination of desolation, it's something that is an abomination. So, like, something disgusting, something scary, something freaky that leaves you desolate or like barren, like, you know, like a field that's, you know, covered in salt, dried up from the sun. It can't grow any plants in it, like a desert. So that's what desolation means. And I think that, you know, the LGBTQ movement, what I read into that is like that is the abomination of desolation coming into the church and making people desolate and barren. Because like the LGBTQ lifestyle, right? Like if you're gay, if you're a sodomite, like you can't have kids. So already that's like the lifestyle of death, because like you are reducing the overall world population. You're not even like at least replacing yourself with, you know, one kid. You are lowering the population of the world by having no kids. In addition, you're also killing yourself. Doing that stuff is really not healthy, and you cause a lot of, you know, problems for your organs. I don't want to go too in depth with that because, you know, I don't want to totally disgust people, but you will cause a lot of damage to your body. It's not your PPs.
Yeah.
PPs aren't meant to go in poo-poos. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And
We can know that it's not meant. People will be like, "Oh, but animals are doing it, so it must be natural." But then tell me why you literally get an uncurable disease from it. A literal uncurable disease that will further desolate your body.
I think the worst part, this is something that I never see people bring up, but I felt like I bring it up, like most of the, like not all the time, but I think from what I understand about biology, most of the time that occurs in animals, it's not like they're in love with each other or something. It's not like they're doing it for purposes like that. They're doing it because they're trying to assert dominance over them and make them feel like a bitch.
Yeah.
In the sense of a dog is a bitch, okay? I'm not cursing. It's not a curse word. Okay?
Yeah, make them feel like they're not their
the
sex
dominant
or...
male.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe we have to start condoning rape because animals rape each other. Theft too, maybe murder. Yeah, I mean animals kill each other and eat each other. Why don't we? We're animals. Yeah. We're animals.
Exactly.
We're animals.
They're always like, "Oh, get back to your animalistic nature" and all that stuff. Like, no, don't. Just no.
But it's like, and even if like you're not gay, right? Like if you're just like a hoe or something, that's still like a lifestyle of death. Like, number one, you're probably gonna catch some kind of STD. Like I think it's something like 40% of the world's population has like an STD. So like, you're definitely gonna catch like an STD from having promiscuous sex with strangers that you barely know. 24/7, you know. But in addition to that, it's like it's not a happy life. People are genuinely just like not happy. They lack meaning. They lack, you know, satisfaction in life, because you're not meant to live like that. Like you would be way more happy if you just spent your entire life with one person, you know.
Exactly.
And like genuinely, like I know that sounds cringe to a lot of people, especially if you're like one of these hippy dippy folk. But like seriously, imagine like if you had someone for your entire life that you knew extremely intimately from like, you know, like 17 up or something like that, which is like how things were in the past. I feel like that would be a much better situation for you than what we have now. But I don't know. That's just me. That's just what I'm reading into this proverb. So you have anything else to say, Noah?
Nope.
Nope. Are we ready to move on to the next chapter?
Panda said that he'll join.
Yeah, I saw that. He said that 20 minutes ago. that 20
I don't
minutes
think he's
ago.
joining.
Yeah, I don't think he's joining either. Well, I guess we're going on to chapter 8. Chapter 8. Wisdom calls for a hearing. Listen as wisdom calls out. Hear as understanding raises her voice. On the hilltop along the road, she takes her stand at the crosswalks by the gates of the entrance to the town. On the road leading in, she cries aloud, I call to you. I call to you. All of you. I raise my voice to all people. You simple people, use good judgment. You foolish people, show some understanding. Listen to me, for I have important things to tell you. Everything I say is right, for I speak the truth and detest every kind of deception. My advice is wholesome. There is nothing devious or crooked in it. My words are plain to anyone with understanding and clear to those with knowledge. I choose my instruction rather than silver, and knowledge rather than pure gold, for wisdom is far more valuable than rubies. Nothing you can desire can compare with it. I, wisdom, live together with good judgment. I know where to discover knowledge and discernment. All who fear the Lord will hate evil. Therefore I hate pride, arrogance, corruption, and perverse speech. See, they're calling me out right there. They're calling me out for my perverse speech. Common sense. What? This software is so bad. Common sense and success belongs to me. Insight and strength are mine. Because of me, kings reign and rulers make decrees. Rulers lead with my help, and nobles make righteous judgments. I love all those who love me. Those who will search will surely find me. I have riches and honor, as well as enduring wealth and justice. My gifts are better than gold, even the purest gold. My wages are better than sterling silver. I walk in righteousness, in paths of justice. Those who love me will inherit wealth. I will fill their treasuries. The Lord formed me from the beginning. Therefore I'm bad at reading. From the beginning, before he created anything else. I was appointed in ages past, at the very first, before the earth began. I was born before the oceans were created, before the springs bubbled forth their waters. Before the mountains were formed, before the hills I was born. Before he had made the earth and the fields and the first handfuls of soil. I was there when he established the heavens and when he drew the horizons on the oceans. I was there when he set the clouds above and when he established his springs deep in the earth. I was there when he set the limits of the seas so they would not spread beyond their boundaries. And when he had marked off the earth's foundations, I was the architect at his side. I was his constant delight, rejoicing always in his presence. And how happy I was with the world he created. How I rejoice with the human family. And so, my children, listen to me. For all who follow my ways are joyful. Listen to my instruction and be wise. Don't ignore it. Joyful are those who listen to me, watching for me daily at my gates, waiting for me outside my home. For whoever finds me finds life and receives favor from the Lord. But those who miss me injure themselves, and all who hate me love death. See, I'm on point. At least with the last thing that I just said about how these people worship death. So on point.
Yeah.
See, I think this is really calling into a lot of the themes that, we've been talking about in the past couple of streams about wisdom almost being like Jesus in a way. There's been a lot of chapters in here, and you think this is Proverbs, just literally like a book of sayings, It's not like, some story. There's no prophet in here. but yet it prophesies Jesus in Proverbs.
Yeah.
But the only question is, so Jesus is a she? Jesus is a her? Alright guys, this is the biggest red pill. Apparently Jesus Goral. Alright, well, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that, you know, if you really read this and you know about Jesus, if you read like the Gospels, I've been reading the Gospel of John, and like everything that is said in here is like very, very similar to this, to like what he says.
Yeah.
You know, like just the same type of talk. And it also, he says, and it says something very specific. It says, "The Lord formed me from the beginning, before he created anything else. I was appointed in ages past, at the very first, before the earth began." And it said that he was the chief architect. I was the architect at his side. And I was happy with the world he created, and I rejoiced with the human family. So I don't know, I see a lot of parallels there. I don't know, what about you?
I do too see a lot of parallels.
But there's something in particular that I think is probably some good wisdom, or at least like calls out atheists, okay? Calls out the non-believers. Alright, and it says this: "Listen to me, I have something important to tell you. Everything I say is right, for I speak the truth, and I detest every kind of deception. My advice is wholesome." And it says, "All the words of my mouth are righteousness." So same, that's what it says in King James Version. There's nothing devious or crooked in it. My words are plain to anyone with understanding, and clear to those with knowledge. And I think that's really calling out people who are atheists. I recently saw a post on Instagram that had like a picture of Mecca, and had a picture of like some Jewish guys, and it had a picture of a cross, or it probably had like a Pope too or something in it. And it said on the caption of the picture, they promise you heaven in the future, so they can control you now.
I saw that too.
Yeah, and we all spammed that post with "Father reveal when."
Yeah.
Father reveal when. And I think I ended up saying something like, "Everyone's saying Father reveal when we already know that your father
Over 100
is Satan."
people commented on that post,
Yeah,
I think.
no, 1,000 people commented on that post, "Father reveal when." But I think this particular thing is calling out that person directly. Because I asked someone, I DM'd that guy that posted that. I think their name was like Authright Cringe or something. Here, I'll look it up. I'll get the name right, so if you guys want to bully him. Authwright's worst nightmare, and it's like all underscores in between each word. But I asked him, you know, I'm gonna read it out just so I make sure I get it right. What do you lose from following God? What negatives come out of the teachings of Jesus? But it seems like all these people, they're very against God. They think that religion was made as a way to like control you, right? Like that's what I always hear, is that religion is basically like this man-made construct in order to control people and to make them act a certain way that they would not normally otherwise act. And like there's some kind of nefarious plot behind Christianity to like, you know, make you a worse person, to make you a slave, right? And I just have to question, like, as it says here, it's like, you read the Bible and it's like, it doesn't say anything like strange. It doesn't say anything weird, doesn't tell you to do anything evil. It doesn't tell you to, go kill people. Like, it commands you, love thy neighbor. Love everyone as yourself, even your enemies.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's so evil.
No.
They're trying to control you.
Yeah, bro.
They're trying to control you by telling you to be nice to everyone, to not answer evil with wrath, but instead to answer it with kindness and goodness, because good is like hot coals on the head of evil or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, dude. You shouldn't kill people. What? You shouldn't cheat on your what? You shouldn't cheat on your husband? You're trying to control us.
Bro.
They're trying to control us. Noah, they're trying to control us.
They are, bro. They have to be. They have to be, bro.
Why else? Why else
Exactly.
would they say that there is a God that is going to kill, that is going to wreak judgment on the world if we don't, love each other and be nice to each other and appreciate the beauty of the world and live the way that we were designed to live, instead of trying to make ourselves into some freaks, into disgusting freaks. Instead, we just limited ourselves from doing a very small amount of action, and we're perfectly free to do literally everything else in the world except for a couple things because they'll mess you up.
Yeah.
Oh, why would we want to do that? Obviously, putting pee-pees in my butthole is much better, is much more fulfilling than having genuine connections with people and with a God that loves you. So much more fulfilling. What did you learn from this passage, Noah?
I learned that, that people really need to, I don't know, they just need to try Christianity, I guess. Or at least open their minds to it or something.
Yeah, I was talking to some guy earlier. He's like, I'm not even gonna read it because I already know it's not true. That's like everybody who is.
Yeah, and they think it's evil. They all have been deceived into thinking that it's evil.
And if you actually read it, I even thought the same thing. Yeah, how is it evil exactly? How is it evil?
I can't see one instance where it's evil.
Yeah, I used to think the same thing about religion, right? Because I was an atheist for a while. I watched The Amazing Atheist. I watched Thunderfoot. I watched all the cringy atheist creators.
Cringers.
But if anybody actually took the time to read it, and this is the best thing too. You talk to every single one of these people. They all unanimously say, I've read the Bible cover to cover, and it's total nonsense.
Yeah, you clearly haven't.
Yeah, you've totally read the Bible cover to cover, man. And I mean, I've been told that the Bible blinds people by the Door, that YouTube channel. I don't know. Maybe it does, but as far as I've seen, the Bible is the most truthful book I've ever read.
Yeah. You've ever read?
I've ever read.
The book you've ever read.
The best book I've ever read.
Yeah.
Even Genesis and just the little vignettes that happen after Abraham. There's so much deep stuff that you can learn from it. Every single part of the book is full of meaning. And I was talking to this guy yesterday. He's like, "Well, yeah, the reason that it perfectly describes the world 1-to-1, 100% accurately to how the world actually works is because it was written to describe the world. But that doesn't mean that God's real."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but like, how would you have another religious text that's going to perfectly describe the world? There's only one truth.
Exactly.
There is only one reality. Like, no one can. I don't know. I was gonna say something funny, but I didn't have a joke. My joke wasn't fully formed. Like,
Oh.
there's no way you could reasonably say, like, you know, the sky is purple or orange, like, for the majority of the day. I guess it is orange for a little bit of the day. But I'm saying the entire sky for the entire day is green. I don't think you could reasonably say that. So obviously, you know, there is an objective truth, you know, like, oh, the sky is blue. But suddenly, when we get to, like, other things that you don't like the implications of, suddenly there is no objective truth that can be gained from the world. Like, all these atheists still just say, like, oh, well, we don't know anything about reality. I don't believe that George Washington was in office. And you know that that's, like, a total lie.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like we're getting off topic, but basically, I think most people who have something against Christianity are really just people who didn't read the Bible. Are really just people,
or they've had bad experiences or assumed something.
Yeah, basically. So true. So true.
So based and pilled.
I'm so based and red pilled.
So pilled.
I'm pilled.
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 Mr.
Are
Pilled.
you pilled?
I'm pilled. Mr. Pilled.
Jeez, we're speed running today, man. This is based.
Yeah.
Very red pilled. Let's go. Let's go. So you got no inputs? You want to go into chapter 9?
Yes.
So, chapter 9 seems to be a continuation of chapter 8. So this is like the first half, and we learn from this, you know, that why wouldn't you follow the wisdom of the Bible? We've learned that wisdom is basically like Jesus without form, I guess, or something, like outside of the flesh, or something like that, the spirit of Jesus. So chapter 9 looks very short, and it's a continuation of that. Wisdom has built her house. She has carved its 7 columns. She has prepared a great banquet, mixed the wines, and set the table. She has sent her servants to invite everyone to come. She calls out from the heights overlooking the city. Come with me, she urges the simple. To those who lack good judgment, she says, come, eat my food, drink the wine I have mixed. Leave your simple ways behind and begin to live. Learn to use good judgment. Anyone who rebukes a mocker will get an insult in return. Anyone who corrects the wicked will get hurt. So don't bother correcting mockers. They will only hate you. But correct the wise and they will love you. Correct the wise and they will be even wiser. Teach the righteous and they will learn even more. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of wisdom. Knowledge of the Holy One results in good judgment. Wisdom will multiply your days and add years to your life. If you become wise, you will be the one to benefit. If you scorn wisdom, you will be the one to suffer. So that's not the full thing of chapter 9. There's another half of chapter 9. But I think there's a bit to examine there. Something kind of interesting, which is that it says, anyone who rebukes a mocker, so that's like tells someone off who's like, makes fun of people, they're just going to get insulted because, they're a troll, they're doing a little bit of trolling. So you're just going to get insulted. Anyone who corrects the wicked will get hurt. Don't bother correcting mockers, they will only hate you. I don't know, I think that's a little strange. I've just realized I'm not showing it on screen. So stupid.
I've at my school, I've tried to correct people, and I've tried to tell people off, and they have mocked me and insulted me. So that is very true. That definitely has some real life application.
But then it says also, but correct the wise and they will love you. Instruct the wise and they will become wiser. Teach the righteous and they will learn more.
Yep.
What does that mean though? How do you differentiate between
the wise are like people who are true Christians, but let's say they've got something wrong. If you correct them and show them that what they thought is not right, they will love you for it because they'll realize, oh, I could have gone a long time thinking this, and I would have never realized that it was wrong, but this guy corrected me. And now I know better, That kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think this is necessarily talking about preaching in and of itself.
Well, it says the righteous, and Christians are described as righteous.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think this is talking about preaching to people, though. What this is talking about is correcting people. This isn't talking about, spreading the word, but it's talking about when somebody is coming up to mock you over that, or like just mock you for anything. But since this is a Bible study and, we're looking at this through the lens of Christianity specifically, but really this could be anything. But but in the if you're talking about God to someone, they're mocking you, there's no point in continuing that conversation. There's no point in that because they don't have any interest in actually learning. They are not analyzing it to understand what is true. They're analyzing it to find where you slipped up, where you said a word wrong, where you didn't have something on screen so that they can make fun of you. That's their whole MO. So it's basically saying don't get in an argument with someone looking for a fight, Don't tell someone they're doing something wrong if they're mocking someone, if they are, but tell someone who is somewhat on the right path, somebody who is a little bit misled, that they are wrong, and they will thank you for it because, somebody who's actually good, someone who's actually smart, someone who's actually elected will that's an awful word to use. That will get me some hate. The word elected.
Calvinist?
Yeah,
New Calvinist confirmed.
New Stance Calvinist? There is no free will? What? What?
Right.
What? Kind of true. We don't have any free will.
Bruh.
I'm not going to tell anybody if that's a meme or not. You guys are going to have to figure it out for yourself.
It doesn't make sense, because you were stating, you can't have, there's an atheist that was like, oh, if God is so good, why doesn't he just kill Satan and end all sin? And then you said something like, without the choice between good and bad, you can't have free will. You can't. God wants us to be able to choose between, are we going to live a life of sin or are we going to choose him,
So true. So true.
I just disproved. Calvinists are fuming right now. They're punching the air. No!
Calvinists are the most confused group of Christians. I was hitting on Catholics in the last stream. To be honest, I don't really hate Catholics, you know. I kind of like Catholicism in a way. You know, like, I don't know how you can't like the fact that they have these fancy cathedrals and the fancy, you know, robes and shit.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, the Calvinists, man, they are so misled. I really think that most people that are Calvinists are just, like, looking for a reason to be edgy. You know? Like,
Real.
they're not actually thinking through the implications of that. If you seriously, like, believe the full scope of Calvinism, I'm not talking about people that think that, oh, you have to have faith to, no, I'm talking about, like, you seriously think that there is no free will, or that, you know, like, you can't do something to, you know, you can't have faith, you're not saved by faith. If you don't think that you're saved by faith, then, like, you know,
Yeah.
have you considered that your God is evil? That, you know, like, I don't know, your God is evil. I mean, I guess technically we are chosen, but we're chosen for a reason. So, like, I'm not saying that, you know, we make ourselves, you know, saved. We are chosen by God to be saved, but we're not just chosen because, you know, just randomly. We're chosen because we decided to have faith and believe. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I really dislike Calvinists.
Yeah, it is kind of silly.
Yeah, they're kind of cringe. They're kind of gay and cringe.
A cringer.
So
I've had this download going for a day now, and it's only halfway. I don't know why I said that.
amazing.
Yeah.
So then there's a second half to this, which is very short. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little verses here. The woman named Folly is brash. She is ignorant and doesn't know it. She sits in her doorway on the heights overlooking the city. She calls out to men going by, who are minding their own business. Come with me, she urges the simple. To those who lack judgment, she says, stolen water is refreshing. Food eaten in secret tastes best. But little do they know that the dead are there, and her guests are in the depths of the grave. And I think that's also interesting because it tells us, like, I'm not saying necessarily that's talking about Satan, but that Satan doesn't come as, you know, this demonic force. You know, you're not gonna, like, see Baphomet, you know, walk up to you and, like, try to have a conversation to you. You know,
Yeah.
no, Satan comes up in the form of a friendly little snake. You know, a little cute snake. Little cute talking snake. He comes up in the form of a pope. He comes in the form of a preacher, of a man of God. That's where he comes. He doesn't come as, like, you know, in some obvious form. And so...
Yeah.
And... The main trick of Satan, right, is to let you be given over to these little things. You know, little things like stealing, little things like that, tiny little, you know, offenses. Nothing that anyone would seriously be upset about. And slowly that spirals out of control. And as it says, it spirals into the grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. We've ended the first section of Proverbs, finally.
There we go.
So, after this point, we will actually be in the actual Proverbs from which Proverbs is named. The next thing that we'll be looking at are the Proverbs of Solomon. And there's a couple chapters of that. And who knows where it will lead. After this, I don't know what's going to be up next. I haven't read this far into it. Who knows what we could find.
Mm-hmm.
You don't sound very enthusiastic, Noah Sue.
Oh, I'm kind of tired.
You're kind of tired? Me too. I was not looking forward to doing this stream.
I mean, you have a lot of good points, you know. I don't really have anything to
nothing to
add. No qualms about it, you know.
About it. Anything that you want to rant about?
Not really.
I have something that I want to rant about. They deleted his Instagram. Canadian Christian has been deleted, and anyone who's watching this who's a fan of Canadian Christian is wondering, why haven't I seen his posts? Well, he got deleted off of Instagram. So, if you would like to see his posts, he has a second Instagram, a backup Instagram, which I have linked in the description of this stream. It is at Canadian.Christian2. And you'll find it right there, and you should give him a follow. Even if you're not a fan of Canadian Christian, let me tell you, you will be a fan after this one.
It's just us, bro. It's literally just us.
I don't know why you keep saying this when people are going to watch this after the fact.
Oh, man, I don't know.
You just keep talking shit on your own stream, man. Talking.
Oh man,
show.
It's just us in the sense that it's just us in the chat. There's many more people watching. Look at that, we got like 200 viewers right now, I think, something like that, right?
We'll have probably 70 or to 100 or so viewers after the fact. So far, we've had like 20 people during the whole stream, but I think we're like, I don't know, I just think people hate the Bible, man. They just hate the Bible. We hate the word. We might just be having a bad time. This could just be a bad time.
People are watching now. People are tuning in. We got 7 likes.
Oh, I like how people just now start coming in.
Yeah, lol.
Let me ask you guys, since you guys just came in here, is this a bad time to stream? Is this like the worst time? He says he's got to do homework. Yeah, it seems like this is a bad time to stream. I think maybe we should start streaming earlier with our successive streams. What do you think about that now? I think that would probably be a better idea.
That makes sense.
Because that's what I've had like 3 people come up to me and say something like, yo, I'm busy at 7. I can't make it. You should do it. You should do it in the morning during church times. Well,
at church.
I want you to actually go to church. I don't want you to, people should actually go to church. I think people should probably be forming their own churches. They shouldn't because really what a church is about is it's about the community. The reason you go to church on Sunday is because you're supposed to be forming a community of believers where everyone who is a Christian knows each other. You know all the different Christians in your town. You know what's up with them. When they need something, you go out and you provide, what they need for them. You come up to them and you're like, hey, yo, you're feeling sick? Hey, yo, I made you some soup. Some cute 1950s suburban neighborhood type stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
But, that's really what, the Bible tells you to do. It tells you that that's how you should
Cities are so big nowadays that only be possible in small towns out in the middle of nowhere, really.
It can definitely be possible in cities, at least in, your hood, in your neighborhood.
In the hood?
Yeah, like you shouldn't be treating. This is something. I mean, like
It's all good in the hood.
I guess there's no way around it in modern days, but you really shouldn't be shopping for churches. You should consider the Catholics and the Baptists and Calvinists. I don't know all the denominations. The Church of Christ. That's one that I see a lot around here. You should treat them all as a part of your church. They're all a part of your church. But we have a Quaker church nearby where I live.
Quaker
A couple
church.
miles away. There's a Quaker church. Quaker Oats. But yeah.
Really?
Quaker Oats Church. What is a Calvinist? People are going to get really angry about my definition, but basically a Calvinist is someone who believes we have like no free will and that God chooses who is saved. Like he chooses who goes, like he directly chooses people who are not allowed to go to heaven and people who are allowed to go to heaven, and like so just some people just aren't allowed to go to heaven and they are damned. So yeah, but we learned a lot today in the stream. You guys came at the very tail end of it, but I'll recap it for you guys, and you guys can watch the replay too. But we learned a lot. We went through chapters 7 through 9. And the very first chapter, chapter 7, was really hammering home that idea of no e-girls ever. Never e-girls, okay? And it talked to us about, and we really learned a lot about this statement that it keeps making when it talks about hoes, when it talks about e-girls, when it talks about the promiscuous woman as it describes in the text. Her house is the road to the grave. Her bedroom is the den of death. And we talked about how, this, women's liberation movement, this LGBT movement, this, liberal movement is a worship of death. It literally leads you to death in like multiple ways. Like if you're doing gay stuff, that's gonna lead you to death from disease. If you're a hoe, you're gonna catch an STD and you're gonna die. In addition, that's not like a happy lifestyle. Both of those lifestyles are really sad and depressing, and like they don't give you that fruit of life. They give you it's the society of death, the culture of death. Then in the next chapter, chapter 8 was almost, this kind of parallel with the story of Jesus. It was a little bit, spooky, but we kind of like, it almost predicts Jesus in this. He says a lot of the things that Jesus says. And what we learned here, all right, there was this passage, everything I say is right, I speak the truth, my advice is wholesome, there is nothing devious or crooked in it. My words are plain to anyone with understanding and is clear to anyone who is knowledgeable. And I was talking about, don't be a coomer, pretty much, pooper. And what that was talking about, what I got from that is like all these atheists, they say, oh, religion was just made to control you. And it's like, sure, okay, if it was made to control you, they must be some pretty nice people. They must be some pretty nice slave masters, because the Bible, as it says, everything in it is wholesome. Everything in it is the truth. Everything in it, is obvious to somebody who isn't totally MK Ultra brain raped. Like everything, like if you actually like read what Jesus says, he's smart dude, smart man. And the final chapter, chapter 9, we learn two things. Number one, don't interact with people who seek to mock you. Don't feed the troll. It literally says that, basically. And we also learned about the nature of Satan and how he comes to you not as, this demonic Baphomet look, but he comes to you in the form of a cute little anthropomorphic snake. He comes to you in the form of a preacher, in the form of a pope, maybe, in the form of a That's gonna make people hate me. That was just a joke, okay? I somewhat like Catholicism. But yeah. So that's what we learned. So yeah, that's about all I have to say. So I guess we're gonna finish it off with a song now, finally. And if you guys wanna watch this after fact, that's all good. I hope you guys enjoyed what little bit you did watch. I hope the people that are watching the replay, you guys enjoyed it. You guys learned something. I pray the Holy Spirit was with us. I'm going to play you a song by a guy who I just found, and I have been enjoying his music very much. He just released his new album, which is called Letters to the Church, and this is called Never Fold by Bryson Gray. So I hope you guys have a good night. See you in the next stream, which we'll probably do earlier.
I'm preaching God's word the same way that it's told. Never fold, never fold, never fold, never fold. I'ma stand 10 toes and I never sell my soul. And I know that I get persecuted, but it's what I chose. And the devil trying to lead you down all these ungodly roads. Ay, better read Ezekiel 3:18. Ain't no way to misinterpret what it mean. If you don't want a sinner's blood is on your hands, I'd rather want them all to wipe the slate clean. They say Bryson, but the way you say it mean. But y'all don't preach the word of God at all, so what you mean? And you acting like you Christian also you can make some green. And you can't serve God in the world, so you better pick a team. And they claim to be for Christ, but they gon' fold. These boys acting like they lions, they ain't bold. Your favorite Christian rapper used to have his soul, but look what happened, Satan came and it got sold. And I may never go platinum or go gold, but this what happens when you walk the narrow road. They say, Bryson, you too harsh and you too cold. I'm preaching God's word the same way that it's told. You cannot serve God and money, one of them you gon' despise. Evil rulers think they winning, but warriors on the rise. And they know that I'm protected, I got the armor of God. And I never compromise, and I won't apologize. You can look me in my eyes if you think that I'm surprised. And they trying to cancel me, but look how I beat their eyes. When you seek the kingdom first, then God will handle the rest. But you add into the word, do you serve God or yourself? Hey, and I ain't turned down yet, wait, I'll let you catch your breath. I've experienced to the test, on the 7th day I rest. You haven't gave your life to God, that's probably why you depressed. Turn away from these pagans and turn to God so you'll be blessed. Hey, they claim to be for Christ, but they gon' fold. These boys acting like they lions, they ain't bold. Your favorite Christian rapper used to have his soul, but look what happened, Satan came and it got sold. And I may never go platinum or go gold, but this what happens when you walk the narrow road. They say, Bryson, you too harsh and you too cold. I'm preaching God's word the same way that it's told. Never fold, never fold, never fold, never fold. I'ma stand 10 toes and I never sell my soul. Never fold, never fold, never fold, never fold. I'ma stand 10 toes and I never sell my soul.
Adavos diss track coming